Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. This is going to be a good one. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and tonight we're going to talk about planetary energies of tarot. I have a lot of tarot decks on my table. And so for those of you that like to talk planets, energy, astrology, that's where we're going to go tonight. So I hope you can join in and add, as we come through all the different prompts, you can add deck suggestions to the list. And then this will encourage other people to respond to this tarot tag as well too. So I want to thank Andrew at Tempered Clair, hopefully he'll be here tonight, for starting this tag. And I'm just thinking if I updated my description box or not. Sorry, I've had a really crazy day today. I didn't show up on somebody else's live where I was supposed to be. I don't know what is going on. If Andrew's link isn't below, as soon as I'm done, I will update the description box below. And then you can go and see his video and figure out what you're going to do for yours as well too, because it's a really, really fun tag to do. I want to say welcome. Oh, Andrew is here. Mallory, hello. Joseph, welcome. And Angela is here. Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Hello to Jen and Mallory. I said hello to you. Okay, so as people come in, I'll do my best to greet you. Hello to Mary Beth. Welcome. All right. I do have my prompts ready to go here. So we're going to start. So the idea with this tag is that, just which way do I need to go? I need to go this way. The idea with this tag is that we choose decks that represent the energy of the 10 astrological planets. And so we're going to start with the sun. Excuse me. I tell you, it's really, really been a day. Okay. So the sun, when I think of the sun, I think of self, I think of ego. And there's a lot of things that are represented by the sun. It's a very comfortable energy for me. I am a Leo. I totally get the sun. Totally understand it. I started to think about if there was a tarot deck that represented the source, like what is the sun of our tarot world? What is the source of energy of our tarot world? And so I thought that was a really interesting way to kind of go into this. And so I started thinking about the Tarot de Marseille, maybe even going back a little bit further to some other even more historical decks. And so perhaps an historical deck could represent the sun. And then I started switching that and thinking about the ego. If there was a tarot deck that thought it was the tarot, that it was the ego of tarot, what would that be? I have so many decks here. I don't know how I'm going to possibly do this. And so if tarot had an ego, I think its ego would be the RWS. That's just my impression. I really feel that the RWS kind of has this attitude that it's the be all and end all. Maybe that's my projection. I don't know. So this is something else that I was thinking of. And then I thought, okay, if there is a deck that represents the light and the energy of the sun, and a deck that reflects all of the sun's energy, I definitely want to go with the wild unknown. And there's something about this deck for me that totally, totally speaks to the source and the light and the creativity. And, you know, and I also think for a while the world was evolving, the tarot world was circling around this deck when it came out in 2012. And now it's kind of had this resurgence. And so I really feel like the wild unknown represents the sun in many, many ways. I should really have my glasses on so I can see the chat. Jamie's here. I didn't see. Oh, there's Jamie. Hello, Jamie. Welcome. And my voice is here too. So yeah, so what do you think? Like, what is the other thing too that I didn't really pick a deck for the sun was the divine masculine. And, you know, this is my yoga thing. So if there was a divine masculine deck, that's another way to approach the sun. So let me know what you think about that. And I think it'd be really cool if we could make this list and start to build on this list. Hello, Evie. Welcome. Alrighty. So let us go on to the moon. Now this one I feel like I have a gazillion decks that represent the moon. This one was super easy, and I don't know how in the world I am supposed to pick a deck for the moon. Where do you go? Where do you begin with all of her associations? Divine feminine energy. Do you go to a goddess deck? Do you go to a deck that has a watery name? Do you go to a mermaid deck? I was also thinking of, so like watery decks, I have Dame Darcy Mermaid, Tarot of the Siren, Tarot of the North Atlantic. These are all watery decks. And then I had some kind of crazy ideas. Decks that I haven't pulled out in a while. So I was thinking about this one, which I hardly ever, well, I can't remember the last time I pulled it out, but there's something about the good tarot. Now this looks very fiery, that is very, very watery, very, very lunar. So this one, when I went through my list of the decks in my collection, really had, now I'm not going to be able to find, well, even the suit of air seems very, very watery to me. Of course, the suit of water, there's your high priestess. So this is one that I thought has a lot of lunar qualities to it. I thought about, so what about the psychological aspect of the moon? And then I was thinking, well, maybe the luminous void, or Anatolian's Hidden Waters Tarot, maybe those. Triple Goddess Tarot, what about the Gaian Tarot? And then the other deck that I feel is, ooh, I can't get this box open. The other deck that I feel is very, very lunar is Shadowscapes. This is a deck that is just, to me, feels, it could go in another category as well too, but there's something about Shadowscapes that feels very lunar to me. She's a Cancer. I didn't know Colette Baron Reid was a Cancer. I'm sorry, I missed my voice. Night Goddess is your moon deck, Mallory. Okay, so yeah, so this one to me, I don't know, I just really feel this one is, and even the backs to me look very, very lunar. Yeah, so this one is like, well, pick one. I have a lot. I feel like I have a lot of this kind of energy. Oh, and I have one more. Okay. So what about this one? You know, this is one of my favorite decks. And I feel it's very, very feminine. And the watercolors. And there's something about this deck that just, I don't know, it just feels kind of lunar to me. So this was also on the lunar list. And I think, you know, it's really interesting because some of these planets were easy. Okay, I've got a lot in this category, and other ones were not so easy. They were very, very challenging. Okay, so I'm going to go to Mercury. What do I have for Mercury? This one was a little tricky, to tell you the truth. So I was thinking about, I can't even say it, Mercurial celebrities. What does it mean to be Mercurial? You know, who do I know that's kind of like jumps all over the place? Is there a tarot deck that I never quite know what's going to come out of its mouth? Like, do you have a tarot deck like that if you feel like you don't know what it's going to say, like one day it could be this way and another day it could be that way? And then there's this aspect of, okay, so this deck might have keywords because of communication. I know Andrew chose the 5-cent tarot, which I think is a really, really good choice for this. Are there other decks that are based in letters or communications or have some kind of code words going on? I thought about the Rosetta, maybe because of all the hieroglyphs. This one was a little tricky. And then just a few seconds ago, I changed my mind about what my Mercury deck is. Mallory says this was difficult for her as well. Okay. I want to see what Audrey says. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. And I'm going to tell you why. The Alice stories are full of quips and underlying messages, and they have stories within stories. There's just so much that is going on in the Alice tarots, and you could pick any Alice tarot, and one of the cards that comes to mind is, and I believe it's in this deck as well as Dame Darcy Mermaid, is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords in this deck is the Jabberwocky, the slaying of the Jabberwocky. What does it mean to slay your Jabberwocky? The Jabberwocky is a really difficult poem to recite. And it feels like slaying the Jabberwocky is about getting your mind and your mouth around a difficult speech, a difficult presentation. And so that's why I chose Alice for Mercury. I don't know why that's hard for me to say. So let me know what you think about that. Mary Beth likes my choice. Okay. Good. All right. And Andrew says, yeah, the story is very mercurial. Why is that word so hard to say? You find Mercury grounding. Okay, so I went to my little astrology Bible, and let's just see if we can find another. So Mercury is the messenger, the urge to communicate. Talks in here about the dance of the sun and Mercury. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, with each of these planets, there's a few different ways to go. So let me know what other suggestions you have for some of these planets. Hello, Kristen. So is there a deck? So perhaps there is a Greek deck. Maybe there's a deck like, I don't know, like what about, I don't have like a Titans and Heroes deck, but something like that. Is that what you're thinking? With Hermes and Mercury, with Hermes and Mercury? Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I think this is just a great conversation to have. And then what, if you're looking at decks, if you're doing a 2-deck reading, what planet balances Mercury, and how are you going to, so if it's, oh, here's a question. So if it, like now, we have Mercury retrograde. So what planet is going to balance that energy? And could you choose a deck that is going to balance Mercury retrograde so that it's not so challenging? I think that's a really interesting question, food for thought. Right. Well, I was doing tarot. You're talking about this deck, right? Yes, I think this deck is very mercurial as well, too. So I thought about this one as well. So Jupiter is the opposite to Mercury. Okay. So we want to use a Jupiter deck. Okay. So where are we here? What's next? Venus. I need to go to my notes. What was on my mind? Oh, I have a few other things for Mercury. Let's go back. I have a few other ideas. Actually, I have a long. So another one that feels kind of, you never know what you're getting, is this one. Because this deck, and I know this is the way, this is not, there are other decks too that have the swords in water. But this one feels like there's a lot of kind of unusual messages. We have the Egyptian pentacles, and I don't know. I just feel like this one is another possible choice for Mercury. And I also put down antique anatomy. Antique anatomy. So it's, where are we at? Sorry, I just lost the. Oh, and Audrey's saying Saturn also balances Mercury retrograde. Okay, good to know. So Stunning Tarot is one I also thought felt quite mercurial. And this one also has the purple cards, right? The purple cards that are very, very witchy. So sometimes you get a witchy message, and sometimes you get an Egyptian message, right? Sometimes you get a mermaid message. Right? So I just kind of feel like this one is, and sometimes you get a message from the gypsies. So I kind of feel like this one is all over the place in one regard. Oh, okay. So you also considered antique anatomy, Andrew. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, I'm going to go on to Venus. Venus. Okay, so Venus. This is a hard one for me. So I was thinking about the Art of Love Tarot. It's a Tony Carmine Salerno deck, and one of my daughters has taken off with it. So that is one for sure. Lonely Dreamer, maybe. For art, I was thinking maybe the Japarizzi, but the Art Association. And then there's quite a few decks. Like I was thinking about the earthiness, the connection to the Empress, and yeah, so there's lots of Venusian associations, but the deck that I picked is one that just feels, it feels arty, it feels romantic, it feels like it wants to be in relationship. And this deck is called the Beautiful Rebellion Tarot. And there's something about this deck that I just feel very, very Venusian. I absolutely love this Fool card. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, so this is my choice for Venus, I think, of all the ones I put in my list. I was thinking too of the earthiness as well, like Herb Crafters and some of the shamanic decks, but I'm going to go with Beautiful Rebellion. Mallory says Pagan Otherworlds is her Venus deck. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Let me just highlight Mallory's comment. For sure, that makes sense. Venus is one of the hardest planets to understand. The Heroine Tarot, or our tarot, maybe. Okay, and I was thinking also too of that oracle deck with all the female authors. I forget what it's called. Literary Witches Oracle. Maybe that one. That feels very heroine-like. Feels kind of heroine-like. Okay. Okay, so Mars. This one was a little hard for me. You know, like, what is the energy of Mars? Venus and Mars. I know, masculine, feminine. That book, oh my God, remember that book years ago about relationships, Venus and Mars? And I know Andrew chose Primordial, which connects to the blood and the survival and the red planet and all of that, you know, and feels like there's quite a bit of passion, and well, it's a very root chakra kind of deck. I don't know, it does. So this one works. This is the one that he chose. And I want to go in a different direction. I'm curious what you feel is your Mars deck. So somebody said Mercurial. Would the Weaver's Oracle be Mars? Would the Weaver's Oracle be Mars? maybe. I mean, that's possible. I mean, a lot of those weavers were in very difficult surroundings and circumstances. It was about survival. I wonder if this deck is Mars. Let me know what you think. Mallory says Muriel. Mars is energetic. Let's go to Audrey, our astrology. Sometimes harsh and agitating, but it's our shield to protect us against ignorance. Well, don't you think this is exactly everything that Audrey is saying? Okay. So, this is the card. This is why I bought this deck. This because the Dalai Lama was on the Hierophant card. I feel like this deck is fearless. It really is fearless. And I love some of the choices of the cards, and I feel like it has that kind of energy. Mallory says Mars, Saturn. Okay. Dust to onyx. Now I have dust to onyx on my table. I put it in a different planet, but we will get to that. I really appreciate your feedback on this. Did I have anything else? I didn't have anything else for Mars. I found Mars really, really difficult. Okay, so for Jupiter, there's so many keywords that came to mind. So what about self-indulgence? Is self-indulgence a quality of Jupiter? And if it is, I was thinking of the Housewives Tarot. I was thinking of all those cocktails and people sitting around, and there's a lot of preening of self. Which planet would be for the Weaver's Oracle? Which planet would be for the Weaver's Oracle? Well, there's a lot of wisdom in it. It's very ancestral. It feels very slow. It may be, I think it's definitely an outer planet for sure. Okay, Jupiter was actually hardest for me, says Mallory. And expansive, benefic. Okay, so definitely will self-indulge. Venus can be self-indulgent too. And Leo can be self-indulgent. Leo, like Sun can also be self-indulgent too. Jupiter loves, this is hilarious. Jupiter loves sugar. That is funny. Okay, so my self-indulgent deck was Housewives, which I didn't bring to the table. And then what about abundance? Just the abundance. Like if you think of the artwork on a deck, which deck is just like full of stuff? It's just full of things. It's just like there's so much bursting off the deck, like abundance. You know, I wonder if the slow tarot, no, some cards, like this feels like Jupiter energy. You know, like some of the cards feel like they're just too much. Like this Queen of Cups feels like it's very expansive. You know, and look at all this going on in the Hierophant. So some of the cards in this deck feel very, and here's like, what is this one? This is the 5 of Coins. It's very excessive. Let me see if I can find a few. I didn't think about this one. And here, like even in the Lovers card, we've got a fire going on in the background. We've got all this stuff here. We've got the moon. We've got, I don't know, it feels like there's a lot. So as far as like cards with a lot going on, does that fit for Jupiter? Okay, so, okay, good. Right? So here's a couple more other cards that kind of fit into that. Like this is the Two of Coins, right? We've got the bathtub overflowing. We've got the juggling of the coins. We've got the funny look on the face. So, okay. Good. I'm glad. Okay, that was just a random, total random choice. There's one other card. Oh, like this Ace of Wands is so abundant. There's so much stuff going on in this card. This is one of the very best cards to look at on the art gallery website and to zoom in and see all the things that are there. Yeah. I was just thinking of, right? Six of Cups. Okay. Yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so this is good for Jupiter. What about so I believe somebody said higher learning is associated with Jupiter. So what does that mean, you astrological people, you astrologers in the chat? So how is higher learning or broader perspective associated with Jupiter? I just didn't really understand those kind of keywords. Hi, Sherry Bug. Welcome. Jupiter can be too much sometimes. That's where Temperance comes in. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So I have a question for you about, I hope somebody will, philosophy, spiritual learning, wisdom, PhD. Okay, so does Marielle not feel like a PhD? Seriously, this deck feels like a PhD. You need a PhD to read this deck. You need to know about Norse mythology, Greek mythology. You need to know about runes. You need to know about 3 different systems of tarot. I kind of feel like this deck also is Jupiter. Just a sec, I saw a ha comment that Marielle is definitely a PhD. Marielle is Jupiter. Okay. 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 So yeah, so Marielle does feel like a PhD. Okay, good. We're all on the same. And my voice says largest in the solar system, grandest, highest knowledge. Right? Like this King of Swords, like, oh my God, this is just so, yeah. Okay, so this is our PhD, right? The Emperor. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Right, and it has, she talks about like exalted Scorpio, and so you need to know about astrology, and there's just like so much going on in this deck. Okay, there we go. So that I think is going to be my Jupiter deck. Yay, we got that one. And Susie is here. Hello. Anything by Usui feels like a PhD. Okay, that is also a very good point. Oh, Kristen, that's hilarious. Marielle is a PhD student drunk at a party. In the Vedas, they talk about planets like they're people. The planets are personified. So Jupiter as Brisapati or Guru has a big tummy. Okay. That's right. I believe Andrew was talking about that too, as the Jupiter as the Guru planet. Jupiter as the Guru planet. Okay, so what about Whispers of Ganesha Oracle? Or maybe Rumi or the Sufi Oracle, right? Those are very guru kind of energy. Yeah, I don't have a tarot deck like that though. Okay, I'm missing a comment down here. Sadhana. Ah, that's funny. That's funny. Okay, so let's see. Jupiter is the guru, our inner divine teacher who stokes the spiritual life, highly revered in India or through Vedic astrology. Okay, good to know. Rumi, yes, Ganesha. Okay, good. And Ganesha loves sugar too. So when you go to a temple, you can leave sweets for Ganesha. Okay, cool. All right, let us go on to the next one. So Saturn. This one was not so easy for me. Oh, the Dalai Lama image in my voice tarot's comment. Yeah, and I also feel there's a lot of different energies in that deck. I'm not sure where I put it. Anyway, oh, here it is. It's right here. It's right here. And you know, this one is also, there's also a lot of you need to study about the tattoos. There's a lot of learning in this deck as well too. I find this Three of Swords really something. Anyway, I think this deck could fall into a few different planets for sure. Okay, Saturn. Harsh lessons, yes, that is for sure. So discipline, restriction, limitations. Which decks create that? You know, the kind of decks that make you fall to your knees. This one was a little tricky for me, and I have a couple of suggestions. Other keywords for Saturn. I was looking in my little Bible here. Bible of astrology. The Lord of Karma. Saturn is the Lord of Karma, the keeper of time. Saturn stands at the boundary of the known and the unknown and offers insight that has to be hard won from the depths. By accepting the despised qualities of the shadow, the soul becomes whole, freed from fear and self-condemnation. Okay, so I chose Marigold. I feel like this deck has a lot of qualities that speak to, I mean, it speaks very strictly to a particular culture. This could also be Pluto for death. Is Pluto death? What's the one for death? So this is one of my thoughts, because this deck is very specific to a certain discipline, to a certain structure. And in extension, I'm wondering if any deck that has a very tight structure. So for example, what about, I've got my greenie here. So what about the Thoth? Is this Saturn? I don't know where I am in the chat. True black, limitations, but strong and beautiful. Marigold feels more Pluto. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I put that down. Pluto is death and rebirth. Sherry says Mars would be death. Okay, I don't have true black. Thoth would be Saturn for you. Okay, so what is Thoth for everybody else? Wow, I don't love that card. Thoth might be more Jupiter. Okay. Mallory says yes. Okay. I don't know. I feel, and it was really interesting because I was listening to a discussion by Amber, Lavender Moon, about the paths in the tree of life and how she disagrees with the paths that are used in this deck. And so, like this deck has definitely got structure to it. So, okay. Did I have anything else? What is another quality of Saturn that we have missed? Because I feel like Saturn is the law of cause and effect. So is there a deck that just screams karma, karmic justice? I'm just wondering. Yes, many planets do have lots of different associations. Saturn is the greatest teacher more than Jupiter. Okay. I have so much to learn about all this. So much to learn. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So 3 more. Uranus. Rebellion, revolution, break with tradition, inventions, think outside the box. Guess you're never gonna guess. You're never gonna guess what I picked for this one. What did you guys pick for Uranus? Oh, good night, Kristen. I did, yes. I did pick New World, and I also picked Wooden. So I have 2 here. I picked the Wooden Tarot and the New World Tarot. This is the Wooden. I think this is so outside the box. It's not even funny. Uranus is a carnival at the end of the world. You get an Aquarius vibe from this deck. Okay. Yeah, like, seriously, look at the sun. Oh my God. And that's the moon. Okay, so yes, I did. So New World is also, sorry, no, Next World, not New World, Next World. This is the one that I chose. Is this the one that you mean? This is the Rebellion deck. And so I'm probably, these are the little cards. I don't have the big cards for this one. But to me, this one is just so Uranus. Yeah. Is that what you meant? Yeah, I thought about Deviant Moon as well, too. I think that's a really good choice. I think that's a really good choice. Like the Page of Swords, the home of action. And there you go. There's your Revolution card right there. Your Tower card is called Revolution. Yeah. So somebody said New World. I just want to make sure. Oh, and Audrey says Wooden feels some Saturn and some Venus. Interesting. Okay. And for Mallory, Deviant Moon feels Pluto. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this one, this one was easy. Like I thought of this one right away when I was just kind of reviewing what Uranus means. And yeah, I totally agree with what my voice said. You know, we have different experiences for that. I have a couple of decks that I'm not sure what to do with. Now, this one is quite a weird little deck. Black Lily, and I can zoom in because it's another little deck. And I'm not sure where this deck goes. And so I would love for you guys to know this deck. It's really, really weird. There's a lot, there's a little bit of Mars energy for sure. Yeah. But it's definitely out of the box. So which is the planet that is out of the box? Dreams of Gaia are Uranus out of the box. Okay. So, and Well-Tempered Clair Hayworth for Uranus. Okay. So I kind of feel like this, are we still on Uranus? Yeah, I kind of feel like this one, which is a deck I haven't really worked with, is kind of Uranus. Okay, and Audrey, the Tarot de Marseille Serene, which planet do you think that is associated with? Oh, and there's another comment about everyday enchantment. Oh, the Tower. Okay. And urban for Uranus. Okay. Okay, yes, that makes sense. I totally get that one as well, too. Urban. That has some wild cards in it for sure. Serene Marseille is Venus. Okay. goodness. All that water. Okay. Where are we at? We have one more. The cards are small, but it's your favorite. Okay. So let's go to, no, we have two more. Okay. Neptune. Neptune. I feel like I have a lot of Neptunian decks. A lot. Dream, illusion, inspiration, abstraction. Yeah, I feel like so many decks are Neptunian in my collection. So many. Like this one, I've shown you a lot lately that I'm working with. The Chemonet feels like Neptune, like this whole kind of suit. So this is one, but this is not the one that I picked. So Chemonet feels Neptune. Like I have a long list. But the one I chose, where are you? Where are you? Come on. Oh, it's right on top. Andrew, that's a really good question because I like things that are kind of that way. So I chose this deck for Neptune. I kind of feel like this one is so Neptune. Tarot de Serene is by Marsh, the Wandering Oracle. It is you can go to wanderingoracle.com, and I think they also have an Etsy shop. So yeah, so this is the Full Arcos Tarot, and I feel like this is totally Neptune. So this is one. Like, I mean, just look at the clown's nose. I mean, all the minors are just like, you know, the whole deck is in a dream. Mallory, this is the Full Arcos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti. Yeah. So this one is a definite, for me, this is a definite Neptune. The other Neptunes that I have on the table to share with you, oh, I didn't pull any out. Oh, okay. So yes, I do. I have one here. I'm wondering what you think about this one. Is this Neptune? Do you think Dreamkeepers is Neptune? Let me know if you think this is Neptune. I mean, they're not all headless. And some of them have like detached heads. Okay, so Dreamkeepers definitely feels like Neptune. Okay, good. Ah, feels more like Venus for you because of the art. Even with all the headless people and the detached heads, I understand why you're saying Venus. So like, for example, in this one, where's my little chopstick? So in this one here we have the dress, and then we have like a body climbing out of the dress. But if we look at the Sun card, this feels like Venus to me. So, you know, maybe some decks have mixed energy for sure. Ah, Q2. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes. I get that totally. Lunarian and Neptunian energy can be very similar, for sure. Right? That element of water. Ah, so ancestry, past lives is the South Node. Okay, good to know. All right, so last one for tonight is Pluto. And this one was kind of hard for me. So some of you said this one. So Marigold felt like Pluto. What were some of your picks for Pluto? What were some of your picks for Pluto? And what are some of your keywords for Pluto? Because you know, this one little section says explosive influence. Pluto is the higher vibration of the warrior Mars, signifying universal aggression rather than its expression on a personal level. And then what about the fact that Pluto's been in Capricorn and has influenced, I don't know, I was just thinking about Pluto being in one place for so, you know, influencing a generation, a whole generation. I need to see what you guys are saying about Pluto. Okay. Hush, Murder of Crows, Hayworth. Okay. In a what about dust to onyx as Pluto? Just think about this for a minute. Oh, these are all I've got all my favorite cards on the top. These are the court cards. Jen is, bye Jen. What about this deck as Pluto? Okay. My voice says yes, dust to onyx for Pluto. And Mary Beth says yes. And K2 is for Audrey because of the ancestors. Okay. No, I get that. I feel like this deck is super powerful, like really, like when I think of and also that underworld energy, like, and I mean that in a like deeply influencing from the bottom of the spirit, you know, deep within the soul, influencing from there. So that's why I was thinking of this deck. Yeah. What other decks did you pick for Pluto? I'm curious if you have any other Pluto decks that come to mind, or if you can list any other qualities, then maybe I can think of another deck for Pluto. And also, when I was going through this, I was also thinking of some of the, the organs and the body parts that are associated with certain planets, and maybe through the chakra associations in connection with the body parts, I could think of other decks that are associated with the planets. So that was something that came to mind. So this book says that it is reproductive and excretory organs is one, the physiology. So that's first and second chakra. I don't know. I think this is just such a really, really interesting way to look at your tarot deck. So I want to thank you, Andrew, for doing this. And I encourage anyone who feels inspired to pull out your decks and do a VR to him. Help bring some attention to Andrew's channel. He's a very, very clever young man. Okay, so Weaver's Oracle would fit in here too, says my voice. Pluto with shadow work. I have Crow Tarot here. Do you want to look at it and see if it feels like Pluto? I can hang around for a few more minutes. This is the Crow. Does Crow feel like Pluto? And why do you say Crow? Why do you say Crow for Pluto? Yes, there is. Well, there's a rainbow tarot tag, Andrew, rainbow decks. And so when I was doing that tag, I put in some. So tell me why the Crow Tarot is Pluto. I want to kind of follow your line of thinking. Crows are, I don't know, crows eat them. Crows eat crows. Corvids are carnivores. Good question. Good question. Andrew doesn't see that as, does anybody want to answer Sherry's question? I think it's a really good question. I actually do have Murder of Crows. I have the limited edition with the red coloring. I have not cracked it open. I don't know if I will. I just bought it because I was able to get the limited edition. I don't know if in my yoginess if I can work with that deck. It doesn't really speak to ahimsa, if you know what that means. I have it, and I may just save it as a collection. I don't know. I may sell it, pass it on, but I have it for now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I do like the red. Yeah, for sure. So I'm waiting for an answer for Sherry Buck's question. So that would mean is there, well, you know how we were talking the Mercurial is the PhD deck. Well, okay, so here's an example. So the circus deck, that is sideshow and circus. That's one that comes to mind. Is there a deck for pilots, right? Is there a deck for, obviously there's a deck for witches. Is there a deck for like, is there a deck for bus drivers and taxi drivers and people who, and interesting question. I'm going to think about this. I'm not going to do another tag. I've got a lot of things going on, but oh, there's some other really good comments here. Let's just see what's going on. So much good information here. Ahimsa is your motto. Yes, we all try. And Andrew bought Murder of Crows for shadow work. Okay, and so Joseph said as occupation centric, yes. El Goliath for Pluto. Ah. So on this note, Audrey, so before I had Antique Anatomy, I used the Oracle of Oddities when I was working with yoga teachers, because I wanted to kind of look at the energy of certain body parts in certain poses. So that really fit in well. I actually like that deck. And so I'm trying to think of her name. White Sage Tarot, Teresa Hutch. And her Oracle deck, she actually designed for yoga teacher training. I'm not sure that I would use it for yoga teacher training. I might use it for a chakra course, but not necessarily for yoga teacher training. Maybe the Oracle deck. I want to see what this one says. What if there was a tag where it's a family tree of decks? Which deck would be your son, daughter, uncle, mother? Oh, okay. Can you give an example, Andrew? Yes, many, many occupations in that deck. I'm glad that helps. Ah, that's right. Murder. That's right. I forgot about that. Right. So the collective noun for crows is a murder of crows. That's right. I totally forgot about that. So it's not about this. So it's nothing to do with killing crows. Hoodoo Tarot is for everyday working man and woman. Ah, your motherly archetypal deck, your grandfatherly archetypal deck. Yeah, that might be kind of hard, actually. I could certainly do that with certain cards. I don't know if I could do that with whole decks. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has certainly been interesting, and there's a lot of astrological study things that are on my desk at this time, particularly the moon mansions, which I'm studying. And I've decided to focus on my moon studies rather than picking up astrology, even though I have a couple of astrology courses that I've paid for. So yeah. And there's a couple other decks. Fountain Tarot. I was wondering where that fit. Fountain Tarot. And Do you know this deck? I was also wondering where this deck fits, Pagan Tarot. And there was one other one that I found I thought was kind of, see if I can find my list of decks that I don't know what to do with. Oh, okay. So what about Legend, the Arthurian Tarot? Those are 3 decks I wanted to do something with. Fountain, Legend, Arthurian, and the Pagan Tarot. Do you know these decks? Where are we at here? That's so funny. You're talking. Yes, This Might Hurt has a lot of interesting ones. Thanks, Audrey. That's really good. That's really good to know. Yeah, I just, you know, time is a funny thing, and I just try to pick things up when I can. And I'm right now working with the Moon Oracle, and I'm just, as you know, with my Indian connections, Vedic astrology is really, really important. And so I feel like I really need to, and I know that the moon mansions have 28, and in Vedic astrology there's 27, and the energy is slightly different. And I'm not sure where I'm going to go with all this, which lineage I'm going to kind of follow and study, but definitely interested in this. And I will let you know, Audrey. That would be amazing. Thank you. Okay. Oh, you did answer my question, somebody. Okay. Fountain Tarot feels Aquarius, very watery. EMS energy. Fountain Tarot is all air to Sherry Bug. Fountain Tarot feels kind of mercurial. Yeah, it was a weird one for me. Like I thought, ooh, what planet is this? Yeah, I'm thinking more Mercury. That's what I was thinking. Okay, cool. Well, we could go on all night, but I'm going to go. I need to eat and carry on with the rest of my evening. So thank you so much. This was so much fun. And if anything comes to mind after the fact, come back to the video, write it in the comments below, and we can continue chatting about the planetary energies of tarot. And please do your own VR. That would just be great. And I will check out the tag every now and then to see if anybody's done a video. Okay, stay well, everybody. Namaste, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.